Welcome back. This is Capital Market, and you can tweet at us at Channels TV and at CTV Temple, just in case you got comments to share on our discussions this evening. But before we continue, let's quickly take a look at the NASD OTC performance this week. Incidentally, we've got the CEO around here. But of course, the US cyclist uptick this week at 661.73 points against 656.46 points in the previous week. The market capitalization also inched up to close at 439.52 billion. Volume of traded securities moved up by 23%, while the total value of shares traded increased by 121% from 51.75 million naira to 114.42 million naira in 92 deals. And 12 securities were traded. CSCS and Niger Delta Exploration and Production PLC tops the list. Now, following the Tuesday's MPC decision, bearish sentiments persisted in the bonds market. As a result, average yield rose by 107 basis points week on week to close at 16.36%. The 29th of June 2019 security, which is the FGM bond, had 15 deals. February 2020 had 4 deals. January 2026, which is meant to mature on 22nd of that month, had just 5 deals. And of course, T-bills market also had its own sentiments, which remained dampened in the almost throughout the week. Of course, as a result of the 14% increase in the 200 basis points increase in MPR. Consequently, the short, medium, and long-term securities expanded due to renewed investment interest, and we see July 2016, November 2016, as well as August 2016 securities gathering interest and positive sentiments from investors. 104 deals against July 2016, 66 deals against November 2016, and of course for August 2016, 16.25 million naira was invested in that market. We'll now continue our discussion on the funding of soccer through the NASD OTC market in Nigeria. Mr. Ajamale, who's the chief executive at the Unlisted Securities Exchange, is still here. Now we know that there will be, you are probably mulling some kind of investment structure, funding structure. Talk to us about this.
What we see is that for you to take ownership in a football club, or for it to be publicly traded, then we'd like it to be structured as a public company, which means that a PLC must be incorporated. It means it must go through the right registrations with the CAC, with the Securities and Exchange Commission as well, and then it becomes a publicly tradable instrument. Now, the question then is it going to be a holding company that owns a football club as well as the other franchises, all the merchandising and all the souvenirs and the ownership of even the stadium where they play? Or is it going to be a direct ownership in the club and the club alone? In other words, in the players and the coaches. That's where the question lies. And so our approach is to first of all get LMC to call all the stakeholders to the table. Okay. We will organize a workshop, and that's going to come up in the next month or two.
Because investor education becomes very significant.
Absolutely. And so the very first thing we'll do is we'll actually sit down in a room and work out the structure. We already have a couple of law firms, capital market lawyers, who are looking at what structure is best for the market. They will recommend to LMC. LMC will carry that on to the football clubs. We at NASD, however, we're creating a platform and we're saying you can bring your securities for as long as they're publicly tradable securities, number one. And secondly, we will then go ahead and regulate based on the rules that we both agree on. And so we're in the process now of forming those rules. There will be one structure that we'll recommend across the whole market.
Now, talking about that rules, and again you mentioned lawyers earlier, what are the legitimate or the legal implications that we have on this initiative? How are we carrying the NSC along? Because I know they have shares in your platform, as well as the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Well, the NSC is a shareholder, like any other, and so they're hoping for the best and for the success of the business. They'll take a dividend at the end of it. From the SEC, however, they are the apex regulator of the capital market, and as a result, they are looking to see an instrument that is truly public and that is well regulated and that has very clear-cut risks and very clear-cut returns that are expected from that risk. They would like to see accountability. They'd like to see transparency in the securities, and we are the arm that actually establishes that. And so we're working in getting the structure together. We're working with the SEC, advising them of the developments as they go along. They will probably be part of the workshop as well when we do get started. And it will be something that the whole market can accept, as well as our constituency of about 200 stockbrokers who are trading on the platform. So it will be a collective effort to build that market. It's a new market, it's a new build, but then again, you can do this with the football side of the country, then you have the entertainment side of the country, and then you have so many other parts of the economy that you can actually bring in.
Mr. Ajamale, I know you know that a lot of investors can't wait to see results. What's the timeline that we're looking at to get this done?
Well, we signed 2 weeks ago,
right.
And there and then, while we're at the signing ceremony, I think 2 of the leading football clubs said, we are virtually ready. Now, of course, there'll be inspections, there'll be structuring, there'll be agreeing with the whole industry as to how it's going to work, but 2 companies have already said they're ready. We are not expecting all 20 of them to come in at the same time. In fact, entry into the OTC market or entry into the public capital market by any of these football clubs will be aspirational. So we expect that the best of the group will come into the market first. That may happen before the end of this year. May. There's a lot of structuring that needs to be done. If that happens before the end of the year, then we expect that very quickly the next 2 or 3 will join in. By the end of next year, hopefully we'll have about 5 or 6 of them in the market.
So in 20 seconds, talk to us about the outlook of NASD OTC in the second half of this year.
Or in the third half, in the second half, third quarter.
Third quarter.
The first quarter was very slow, very quiet. There's the January blues, and then that was followed by this uncertainty with FX. As you have reported, there has been a certain uptick in activity, and I think as our economic policy becomes clearer communicated, and as investors are able to assess how stable the economy is, I think we'll see more activity. Now, any stock market is a reflection of the sentiment of the economy, so I expect that by third quarter and fourth quarter we'll be seeing increased activity and some positive returns.
Thank you so very much for your comments. Thank you for coming through. I really appreciate your presence here on the show today. On that note, we'll draw the curtain, and I'll see you next time. I'm Temple Ashaju, as I have a lovely weekend.